Listen, do you want to get jacked? Do you want to get bigger, faster, stronger? Are you putting everything you got into your workouts? Well, that's great. That's great. But are you backing it up when you get home? You know what I mean. Are you eating right? Are you drinking right? Are you taking the correct supplements? Well, if you're in need of some fantastic supplements, go over and check out getmountainops.com. Some of the best supplements out there geared towards the specific needs of the hunter. They got multi-blended proteins, pre-workouts, post-workouts, multivitamins, which I myself take and thoroughly enjoy. And not only that, but for the fantastic listeners of this show, if you want to get 20% off your order, all you have to do is enter the coupon code NBH20 at checkout, and boom, 20% off right there. So head on over to getmountainops.com and get yourself some. And don't forget to head on over to naturalbornhunter.com. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to our iTunes channel. Hit us up on Instagram and Facebook. All right, now let's get this show underway. Welcome back, everybody, as we continue our mini-series on the Train to Hunt Challenge. And today's guest is Brad Peterson. For those of you who don't know Brad, he won the North Idaho event last year. He is a very skilled archer and talented athlete. And today we're going to get his take on the competition and, maybe get some tips and tricks on you can add to your game to take it to the next level. How you doing today, Brad?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. So what events you looking to do this season?
This season, as far as Train to Hunt goes, I'm doing North Idaho as well as Missoula. I told Brock I was going to do Washington, but then I seen Missoula came out, and I was like, oh, man, that's 2 hours away from the house. I got to jump on it, and I didn't realize it overlapped with Brock's event in Washington, so felt kind of bad, but he understands. It's only 2 hours away. I couldn't pass it up.
I hear you. That 2 hour drive, that's a nice, easy drive.
Yep, 2 hours to Bonners Ferry to the North Idaho event and 2 hours to Missoula. So it's pretty nice having two events within 2 hours for sure.
Was last year your first Train to Hunt?
Yeah, last year was my first Train to Hunt.
Now, what did you do for your preparation?
My focus last year was pretty much all triathlon based. That's what I've been doing the last 5 years. And so I stuck with that all winter. I'd lift weights in the morning, pretty much from November after hunting season. November to the end of February, I lifted weights every morning, and then every night after work, I would do my triathlon specific workout, and did that all winter long. And then come spring, I just moved everything outside and kind of got away from the weights, which was a big mistake come nationals last year. But yeah, I stuck with just swimming, biking, running, a lot of trail running. I didn't do any weighted pack hikes or runs until after North Idaho because I was exposed to pretty good weakness, and I was just glad the course was really short, so the guys couldn't gap me, couldn't bridge the gap too much. But yeah, I swim, bike, run a lot, pretty much 7 days a week, and that's all I did all year long until leading up to the challenge event in North Idaho.
So, what happened at nationals?
Well, other than Trevor Niestrath just blowing his nose and wiping everybody up with it, yeah, I got there, and it was about a week after the North Idaho event, I got the E. coli, and then I was feeling good going into nationals, but I don't know if that lingered at all. But I just wasn't strong enough for that long meat pack, and like I had the wind, I could keep going, but man, my muscles were just shot, and I was like, you know what, this season definitely got to hit the weighted rough runs a lot more, and definitely stick with the cardio because that's what got me through. That's why I did as good as I did, because I still had a good cardio base from doing triathlon, but definitely needed to add more weight training and ruck runs and weighted hikes, and But yeah, nationals went okay. I shot good, shot my bow good, but just held on for dear life in the meat pack and in the challenge course.
Which you won like North Idaho hands down with the in the Hunters 3D course.
Yeah, that's where I got my points to seal the victory because Brock and Ben they were creeping up with they were gaining points back in the meat pack and in the challenge course.
What was your score? Do you remember?
On the 3D course,
Yeah,
it was a 96, I think.
out of 100, which is pretty damn good. That means you dropped what, two shots?
Dropped two shots. Yep, I had one kick out on a close target, kicked out to a three, and then I got scared of a tree that was hugging the kill zone on an antelope, and I pulled it outside. But other than that, it went pretty good. I knew that was my strong suit going in, and I didn't know. I mean, I knew Ben. I knew he'd be fit because I've been doing triathlon for years. I know who he is, but I didn't know anybody else there, and so I didn't know. It was like I have to shoot good and just hang on and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes you can get on the regional events a big lead in that shoot. Then when it comes to nationals, the problem is everyone can shoot. How'd you
Yep.
do? How'd you do shooting at nationals?
I led after the 3D course at nationals. I think I shot a 80, 82 or an 81 or an 82, and I only had a 3 point lead instead of like a 17 point lead like at the regional. And I was in first, and then meat pack I was in fourth, and then after the challenge course I was in seventh or eighth. Like dang it, but it's all good.
So what are you doing for your archery? What are you doing for practice?
For me, I have well, kind of going back to last year's train to hunt and everything, I have a 20 target 3D course at the house.
That's helpful.
That's very helpful. Yeah, yeah. It works out really good because I was able to run that course. I could shoot it, practice 3D at, just a leisurely pace, walk it. And then when to do my train to hunt workouts, I grab the bow and just take off and run my course. And it's probably close to 3/4 of a mile long. It circles up around our property, and it's a really good course to run, a lot of uphill, and
Hmm.
I do that. And wintertime we shoot indoor league, at our local bow shop, and then now it's 3D seasons in full swing. So when it's not raining, I put out a few targets out in the pasture and just shoot all the time. Especially now that I'm not working, I get out and shoot a lot.
So, what do you think most people have trouble with in the 3D course?
I think a lot of it I noticed maybe guys just weren't spending a lot of time in their prep shooting 3D court, going to 3D shoots. And I know it's kind of expensive to get your own targets and all that stuff and practice at home. People don't have the space at home to set up a 3D course. And I got lucky and got all my targets used from the bow shop or the local club. They were getting rid
Hmm.
of them. So I ordered them, and I was pretty lucky that way. But I think a lot of time it was just a lot of people don't spend enough time with their bow because I know the guys I shoot with to shoot 3D, the guys that shoot good, that are your consistent 400 3D shooters, they shoot a lot. And I think that's what it probably came down to at Train to Hunt, because I didn't maybe holding, doing the long holds and might have threw people a little bit, but for the most part, I think it's lack of experience with 3D, and then that comes down to judging yardage, and that probably threw people the most. It's just the experience.
What do you think people could do, or what would your recommendation be for people to get better at judging yardage?
You could, man, a lot of it is practice. You online, like I listen to the Knock On. John Dudley puts out a ton of good information, and he has guests talk about judging yardage. And it's get a system that works for you. Either if it's trying to do the halfway method, judge half and double it, maybe add a yard, or that's the method I kind of use, or do 10-yard increments because you can judge 10 yards pretty easy. And it's just practicing that a lot to get good at it. And I, I go out, I don't ever shoot without, I don't shoot my course not knowing the yardage. I always guess it, and then I
Hmm.
always range because I don't want to make bad shots in practice. So I always guess the yardage. And every single time I walk around with a rangefinder, I range things at the house, just practice judging yardage on everything. I got a rangefinder in my pocket a lot. Just when I'm hiking or doing anything outside, just throw it in the pocket and that's it. It's just something that you just pick up after a while. It gets easier. And I'm by no means an expert. There's guys that are way better at it, but I try hard and it seems to work out every once in a while.
I actually yesterday went out and shot a 3D course, and what I did was I guessed it, went through my system, came up with my number, wrote it down, and then ranged it to check it, then wrote that down. And for the most part, I was in a yard or two. But like you
Yeah.
say, I didn't want to practice the, like the uncertainty of knowing the shot. I wanted to focus on all my shots to make them all good shots. So I went through like that till about like the last three. So for
Yeah.
so for 27 targets, it was all practicing the good shots and just yardage
Yep.
estimation, and then go through and at the end, the last three I smoked them. Just guessed the yardage, and I was within. I think one I got the exact number, and the other two I was within a yard. But I also learned that the ones I judged poorly were uphill shots or any shots where the ground dipped away. Those were the
Yep.
hardest for me to judge.
Yep.
I
For sure.
I think there's a lot of things that you'll see whether you're training for a triathlon where people will log all their workouts, track all their stuff. But for some
Yeah.
reason in archery, there's a lot of archers out there who aren't tracking, logging, writing anything down or have any sort of plan.
No. Yeah. Because I don't think a lot of people don't look at it as like competition and like training for archery. It's most people just they shoot bows as recreation and they don't know they're not really working to try to be a competitive 3D shooter. They just like to go and have fun with the kids and they they don't really I don't know if people don't understand or how that can help them by logging shots and recording everything and having something to fall back on when you want to research how you've been doing and but I don't log. I haven't got into logging too much as far as archery yet this year. Just started probably the last month, and it seems to help a lot.
Yeah, I think having, I don't know how if you've peed off, it's like if you're working out, you don't know if you just PR'd a workout if you didn't write down how you did last time or how you felt or all that stuff. So how do you know if you're
Yep.
getting any better at archery? Or how do you know if unless you're really in tune with what you're doing, if it was a bad shot or bad yardage?
Yeah. Yep. That's why when I practice, I like to know. That's why I like to know the yardage for sure, so I can try to make a perfect shot, and it keeps your confidence up, and it carries over right into when you get to competition.
Yeah, that's the thing. Practicing whatever you practice, that's what you're gonna have. You're not going to be
Yep.
able to practice bad shots, show up on game day, all of a sudden it's like, oh,
No.
things are just firing. you
Yeah.
know.
Last weekend I lost 7 arrows above my house, and yeah, I'm feeling really good about today. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work like that at all.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Yep.
So this year to last year, what are you doing differently for your training?
I put triathlon on the back seat this year, and well, we had the baby in August, opening day archery season. So that's thrown a different dynamic into
Baby,
training.
just crushing your dreams.
Oh no, it just you have to alter him a little bit. It's all good though. I got a great wife, so
That's
it
good.
works really good. But this year I worked out of town pretty much all fall and winter. And so it was every night after work, I'd hit the gym, doing lots of squats, cleans, deadlifts, jumping, kind of doing like a triathlon type workout where you do a brick workout where it's bike and run workouts. I would do deadlifts, squats, cleans with treadmill sprints in between sets. I really like that a lot, and because it really hurt and burned the lungs really good, so it hurt a lot. And so I did that all winter, um, and just running outside. I got free weights in the basement, lifting weights, just lifting weights and running, trying to get stronger because the meat pack was my definitely my downfall. I lost a lot of time in the meat pack at nationals, like, and it was because I had the lungs. I wasn't like completely gassed, but I was just weak.
Just hip strength, leg strength, back strength, all
Yep.
fading on you. All the
Oh yeah,
core
I paid
going.
quick. That gun went off, and it's like, oh man, look at those guys. And I was like, all right, the course is long. Hopefully, a lot of these guys will gas out early because they're excited and they'll blow. They'll just jam early, and I'll start checking them off one by one as we get closer to the end. And I started catching a few guys, but it wasn't. I mean, most of the guys were down and back at their cars having a cocktail before I got through the finish line.
Guys like
But
Gabe Krell are long gone.
oh yeah, Gabe, Trevor, uh, Travis Smith out of Oregon, those guys were gone. And but that's all right though. I had an awesome time. I love it. I just like breaking a sweat and shooting my bow. So trained to hunt.
Yeah, that's the
It,
thing. Train to hunt's a
it's
different sport.
fun, man. Yep.
You know, I went in today and had that serious conversation of all right, CrossFit's going on the back burner. I'm gonna have to do that one thing I hate more than anything, and that's run. You know, for
Yeah,
me,
run.
yeah, for me it's not the strength. It's the lungs will hold me back. That endurance will hold me back before anything else. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
15 burpees. I'm not scared of 15 burpees or carrying 100 pounds. It's the endurance aspect. It's like,
Trying to run a 7 minute mile for 3 or 4 miles.
yeah, I had Gabe he's running a sub 10 mile on a track with 100 pounds,
Yeah, yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
which,
I don't even I have to try it eventually, but that's
you,
a that's fast.
you know what though? Now there's a number out there. Now there's numbers out
Yeah,
there. At least that's the good thing I think about doing all this is there's now kind of a resource or benchmarks people can look
yeah,
towards.
benchmark. And I
Like,
think what you'll find too is with a lot of guys that do train to hunt is guys will be pretty honest too. They'll go out and try it, and they're not going to throw up some phony number like I did a 7.5 minute 100 pound run 1 mile.
yeah, that's
Guys
what
will be honest, and they're not going to be afraid to say, dude, that killed me, man. It was like a 20-minute mile.
that's what I
But
was gonna do. I was gonna just throw up a fake number and just say I did it
yeah,
with 200 pounds. Like I did it in 10 minutes of 200, guys. What are you
yeah,
doing?
on a bike.
Yeah. What would be
Uh,
what would you recommend people do if it's their first year? Or if there's some things they want to get better at, particularly I would say shooting since that's your strongest point.
yeah, I would definitely try to go to as many 3D shoots as you can and just practice, practice, practice with the bow. And you you can't neglect the lungs. You can't go and not be in shape, but just shoot good. That won't work. You gotta be in shape to some degree to be competitive. You can't. You have to shoot good. So just practice shooting your bow as much as you can. Get familiar with your equipment and just practice guessing yardage. And if you are struggling with shooting, go to your bow shop. Maybe you need to get your form checked out, get your equipment checked out, get everything dialed in, make sure it's perfect, and start throwing in ruck runs. You have to get weight on your back, and you have to hit the mountains. You can't do squats and cleans and run intervals on a treadmill. That helps to a certain point, but there's no way to get familiar with having 100 pounds on your back other than throwing 100 pounds on your back and lacing up the boots and going for a run or a hike because it changes things real quick. So you definitely have to get out in the woods and hammer with some weight on your back and do it consistently. And if you want to compete, you can't take too many days off because the other guys especially North Idaho this year. There's a lot of guys that they got a taste of it last year and they know what it's all about. And I guarantee the guys up in Bonners Ferry that came down and did it in Kellogg, they're hammering hard, and they're not taking the day off up there. And so it's just consistency with everything, with working out, with your nutrition, with shooting your bow. I mean, everything, consistency will carry over into good performance in anything.
That's very, very true. It's like that's one thing I think about all the time. It's like I know Phil, I know you guys, like nobody's stopping. Nobody's toning it down, nobody's not shooting today, nobody's not working out. Like there's always somebody out there who's just gunning, gunning
Yep.
for it. And that's something that I think needs to be taken into consideration as people, anyone who thinks, I'm just going to do straight triathlon training or straight CrossFit training. It's like, it's a little bit different. You're going to have to kind of dedicate yourself if you want to do well in this 100% to it.
Yep. Yep. Especially when it comes to going to nationals, those guys, I mean, it was the bar was stepped up a lot, and I got shellacked really bad, and
Select.
so that was,
Hey,
yeah.
but learning experience, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah, no, and it just made me want to. I don't know if I'll get to go back to nationals this year, with the baby and family vacations and lots of kind of taking a step. Traveling to compete at anything is kind of taking a backseat this year.
Yeah, I
So I
hear
don't
you.
know. Hopefully, if I'm lucky enough to qualify, I'd like to, try to make it work. But being in Salt Lake, it's a lot closer. It's only 13 hours away, so could hook up the RV and head on down and do a little camping and bring the whole family. But we'll see how it works out. I got to qualify first.
Yeah, I'm glad it's closer for everyone else.
Oh yeah, actually, I think it got further away for you, but
Yeah, I definitely did. That's fine. As long as there's a big airport I could come into. Hopefully I'd make it this year to nationals.
yeah.
We'll see. Now, is there one thing in particular to somebody coming in, you would say, don't waste your time doing this?
Um, man, if you're just, I don't know. I don't know if it's a waste of time or waste. I don't know because you have to dedicate time to every aspect of it if you want to compete. But if you just want to get your feet wet and check it out, um, and I don't know. I think you gotta to do it to do it right. You can't really put anything to the back seat. You gotta train to shoot. You gotta put weight on your back, and you have to be able to shoot with weight on your back, elevated heart rate. You can't. I don't see anything that would be a waste of time. Anything you can do to prep yourself physically is gonna work. I would get away from more of just straight, just going for jogs, just light,
Yep.
aerobic 10-minute mile jogs, logging miles. I wouldn't waste my time doing that. I would do shorter stuff with weight on my back, super high intensity, get that heart rate jamming way up, and hopefully by the time the competition rolls around, you get your peak heart rate, you get that down to where you can manage it and you kind of figure it out. But I definitely would get away from just slow aerobic type workouts just to log miles and say you did them. I would definitely go more high intensity, weight on the back sort of runs and do it with a bow and do some shooting and get used to doing that.
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it there. That's a good point. I like that one. One thing I thought of too, people should focus on is the uphill downhill shots
Yeah.
because these courses are not flat at the least.
Mm-mm. Now Silver Mountain, it had a little elevation to it.
Yeah, a little bit of an elevation on the
On
mountain,
a ski hill, it's kind of unavoidable, but
right? Yeah, and that's one of those things people don't think about is it might get a little long or a little short depending on
yeah.
which way they're going.
Yep. And that's where if you're not real if you can't invest in a bow sight that's got a third axis adjustment, and you get a steep uphill or a downhill that's got any range to it, you might find yourself off a little bit too. But
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that one. I've always had one that has that third axis adjustment. That level is dead nuts.
yeah,
There's
most of
probably
your stock bow sights don't come with it. So
no. What are you running for your level or for your sight? I mean,
I run a Montana Black Gold scent ambush single pin.
single pin. Your single pin.
Single,
I
yeah,
think I've been thinking about switching to a single pin.
yeah,
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I like shooting the open class, but I like doing
yeah,
it with what I could shoot a hunter class with if I wanted to for IBO.
yeah,
Because I'm thinking about shooting hunter class IBO. But then I was thinking for train to hunt, I'm just giving you guys or whoever's my competition, yards of
yeah.
advantage over me on every target.
Yeah, the single pin for 3D, it's you definitely have an advantage. Some guys don't think you do, but the single pin sight, adjustable slider, it's awesome for shooting 3D.
Yeah?
And I got in a little bit, almost got in a pickle at nationals with it because there was the two targets in 10 seconds. One was at 20, one was at 35. And with the single pin, I'm like, oh man, I was like, do I make the adjustment or do I hold high? And I fired off the one, just knocked an arrow and boom, just whipped my dial down and I got it just like 9 point. I barely got it.
But you went for
And
the adjustment.
I adjusted it. Yeah. And everybody in the group, everybody standing there is like, I can't believe you did that. Like, well, it almost cost me. So I probably won't do it again.
Or
But what I
practice
found with
more.
yeah, or practice more. Yeah. But with the single pins, what I found worked good is I put two pieces of tape on that single pin and leave just a tiny slit in between them and run a little nail polish on it and make a couple extra marks on that pin. And then you can sight those in at different ranges and write it on your sight tape. And so you can leave it at 20 and you can have a 30 or
Oh,
wherever,
that's brilliant. Now you're thinking.
yeah, wherever they end up because the Spot Hog has that sight with the extra fiber in the pin, but I can't afford that. So I like my Montana Black Gold. They're awesome sights. So I just put those little marks on there, and wherever they end up being, if it's either might end up dead on at 32 or wherever, but put a couple extra marks, and you don't have to slide it.
That's brilliant. I didn't think about that. That is brilliant. I was wondering, man, what do you do in that case? But yeah, put a little mark on there and forget it.
Yep, yep.
Cool.
That's what I do that for hunting season. So, but most of the places we hunt up here, you get 20-yard shots, and that's about all the further you can shoot in the trees and the brush.
Right?
So leave it on 20 and call it good.
Yeah, that's wow. That you may have just blown my mind, Brad. That's a super practical fix.
Glad I could help.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like
So
that.
now you're sold. You're going to a single pin
I
now.
might be now, now that I'm like, hey, that's brilliant. How did I think of that? Man, awesome. Cool. Well, on
Yep.
that note, I think that's gonna end this episode, man. Thank you for coming on.
Hey man,
Any shout
appreciate
outs you want
having
to
me.
give?
Uh, give a shout out to Hoyt. Shooting for Hoyt this year, and give a shout out to Hoyt and everybody out in the train to hunt world. I can't wait to see everybody. Met a lot of good friends, and I can't wait to get out and get with everybody again. Because I don't see any of them. Everybody spreads out across the country, and see each other on Facebook, Instagram, all that. But it's good. It'll be good to get to the events and get to see some people again.
Heck yeah. Well, on that note, people, get out there, practice, log everything, write it all down, and work, hustle, hunt.